Hi, I'm Chef Jamie Adams from Il Giallo in Sandy Springs, and I'm bringing you a recipe from our restaurant, but I can't take the full credit for it because it did come from a place that I worked when I was living in Italy, in the northwest part of Piemonte, and it's a great recipe for using up all kinds of scraps of meat. In this case, of course, we're using great Springer Mountain chicken, we're using a little turkey, and we're going to use a little pork. We can change that around. I'll explain that a little bit later. So let's get started. We're going to start off with, I've ground all the meats here together, and we have 1 pound of ground chicken, and I've used the thighs, which is the tastiest part of the chicken in my world, 1 pound of ground turkey, and a ½ pound of ground pork. And we're going to just add the rest of the ingredients as listed in your recipe, which is 3/4 cup of grana padano, and we're going to add 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs as well. We're going to do 2 eggs. And here I have the Vidalia onion and the sage. To me, this is one of the keys because the onions have very good flavor, but they also retain moisture very well, and it also contributes to the meatballs being nice and moist. So we just want to get this nice and incorporated, and you want to mix it a fair amount, and you want to get it to the point where it's almost sticky. And that way their meatballs are going to hold together real well, and they'll be easy to brown in the pan. Okay, now we've got them nice and sticky. As you can see, when you lift up the spoon from the meat, it's kind of sticking to it. That's what we want to happen. And so now we're going to start rolling these guys. I just grab a little bit here, roll it, drop it right onto the flour. I've done this for a few years, so I know how much is in the palm of my hand. Okay, so now I've got them rolled out, and I put them on a plate that's got a little bit of flour, and so we're just going to kind of roll them around in the flour, give them a flip, and we're going to rattle them around like that. They don't have to be completely and totally coated with flour. That's going to help them brown and help bring more flavor out of them. And we're going to get a little oil into our pan. You want to be sure that your pan is hot. I don't know if you can see the pan, but you can see little squiggles in the oil as it's starting to heat up and it's thinning out. The best thing to look for to see if your pan is hot enough is if you see a little bit of white smoke coming from the oil. Otherwise, if the pan's not hot, they're going to stick to the bottom, and that's a pain in the neck. So I think we're good. I like to use my hands when I put it into the pan because if I'm using a pair of tongs or a spoon, it could slip out and splash the oil, and that is painful. So we don't want that to happen. So I just gently lay them into the pan. You want to turn the heat down just a little bit if it starts to get brown in your pan. We're just wanting to brown them. We're not trying to scorch them. And I just gently take a spoon and with my finger can flip them right over and get all the sides with a little bit of color. Okay, we've got these nice and browned in the pan. We've lowered the heat just a little bit so you're not going to splash too much. I'm going to very carefully measure this. It's approximately a glass of wine, which is a pretty vague amount. Okay, now we're going to add our trademark, well, maybe not really, marinara sauce. It's a simple puree of tomatoes with a little bit of onion and olive oil in it. There's nothing else in there. It's very simple, very straightforward. That's going to all go in there. Now we're going to turn the heat back up. And we're going to add just a little splash of chicken stock. Okay, so we're going to put a lid on these meatballs, and we're going to let them go for about 6-7 minutes, and we'll test them when they're, after that time's gone by, and see if they're ready. Okay, so these have been simmering for about 7 minutes, and we're going to touch them, and they're springy. That tells you that they're ready. And now to finish them off, I'm going to put a little chopped parsley. We're going to swirl them around a little bit. And we're going to go right into this terrine. Now these meatballs are great family style. You put them in a big big tureen or a big bowl like this, and everybody can come grab one. You can serve it with a little bit of, serve it over a little soft polenta. You can serve it over some mashed potatoes, or you can just take a little bit of grilled bread and dip it in the sauce and eat your meatballs. But any way you like to enjoy them, that's the best way. Okay, last we're going to put just a little bit of our trusty Grana Padano cheese over the top that makes everything taste good. Okay, these are Il Giallo polpette, also known as meatballs with tomato gravy. And for more recipes, please go to springermtn.com. Thank you so much for viewing.